guys, what is up? It's Nix here for another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Digimon Story Time Strangers and how to basically one-shot any enemy in the game. And I'll be going in depth about skills, Digimon, and like which ones are the best currently with the rookie forms we have, how to obtain new skills. There's a lot of information we got to go over for this episode, so make sure to stay tuned. Also, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and also subscribe. Anyways, let's get into the video. Alrighty, so first thing that I want to talk about is going to be Digimon, because this is something that is crucial to being able to, you know, just destroy the level and clear it fast. So we're going to be going over stats and Digimon, like which ones I recommend personally versus which ones I don't think are that great, right? The main thing you're looking for, because I have tested to the ground these concepts of how to use these Digimon. I even went as far as leveling a Zubamon up just to see how strong Zubamon would be, how strong Impmon is, Monodramon, Huckmon, anything that's in these 20s means I've tested them and to see how well they'll do. The only one I haven't put much time into is Kurisarimon. Why? Because his stats are really, really low. His actual base stats are not as amazing as you would think for a champion level. Like a lot of the rookies actually will outdamage him. Not to mention some of your Digimon will have vaccine type. And I mean, unknown types I think are strong against, or they're neutral against all. But I don't think they're strong against any either. They are resistant to certain elements because of his second typing, which is unidentified, but that means null damage does like 2 times. So Kurisarimon is the bane of my existence though, because I have been trying to figure out how to one-shot Kurisarimon and also how to one-shot the wave, like the mobs that spawn on the map. So a few things to understand before we go into one-shotting the Digimon with the Digi attack, because it's not as simple as just, you know, hoping that you have enough power, attacking the enemy and they die. No. Because you have to remember, in each of these battles, there's an entire wave of enemies that you have to clear. And every single Digimon in the game that you go and encounter in the wild has other Digimon alongside it, whether it be in training, whether it be a rookie, you know, there's different requirements for each one, because the typings and the weaknesses change. Now, usually if they're paired together, they will have one weakness in common. Usually. The only one that breaks that is Gazimon. Gazimon's really annoying to one-shot. Now, I do think they are weak. So Gazimon's right here, right? Gazimon's weakness is Gaia type and fire type. And then Gazimon's paired with Gatsumon. And Gatsumon is weak against wind and grass. So they don't have any common weakness. He's a data type too, and he's a virus. So it's like what you'd have to do to one-shot these is you'd have to have one vaccine type, and then use a skill that's super effective against Gatsumon, or and is neutral or against Gazimon. Because you can't have it be where, like, yeah, it's strong against Gatsumon, but then it's weak against Gazimon, because that won't work either. So there's a lot of numbers that go into things. So for instance, in this case, let's say we're trying to fight a Gazimon and a Gatsumon, and you want to one-shot them. Well, you would need to use a vaccine type, probably, and deal... you would need to deal grass damage or wind damage as a vaccine type. Now, looking here, this is exactly why I mentioned this. Gazimon is resistant against wind type. Now, if you're wondering how I'm finding out what stats they're strong against and weak against, that's what these icons here determine. So circle means they're weak against it. Triangle means they're resistant to it, so they're strong against it, right? There's also your regular attribute typings. Now, all of these go into the multipliers. So, for instance, for stuff like this where it's just a circle, that means it's going to deal 150 times damage. Now, if you have a circle or triangle here, that means they're resistant and strong against for typings. So here you can see vaccine types, it's weak against. This is data types, it's strong against, because it's a virus type. Virus types are strong against data types and weak against vaccine. That part's always been simple, but these elemental resistances are making the game so complicated that it's really hard to keep track of. So anyways, there's also personality, which plays a part in this. There's just, like I said, so much to talk about for this video. that I'm gonna try to go piece by piece. But for our example, we're using Gazimon and Gatsumon right now as an example, because this one's probably one of the harder ones to one-shot because of their typings. So what's the element that you guys think would work against this? Well, it wouldn't be wind, because wind Gazimon's resistant to. It would be grass. So you would use a grass AoE skill with a vaccine typing. Why vaccine? Because it's strong against Gazimon. It's gonna help you beat the Gazimon because you'll do 150 times damage because you're using a vaccine into a virus. But because you're using a grass skill, it'll also deal 150 times on Gatsumon. Now the only problem is Gatsumon's resistant to vaccine types. So again, it's annoying. But in this case, since you're using a grass skill, and yes, you may be using a vaccine type, I don't think it will affect the multiplier. It should still be 150 times. We could test this just to see. There is a way we could test this information. And then you'd have to level up that typing like to at least like level 25 probably is my recommendation. Anywhere between 24 and 30 is where that hypothetical Digimon would have to be. All right, moving on to the problem we have now, which is that, okay, most people have not figured out how to one-shot Kurisarimon. Now, again, we're in balanced mode, by the way. This isn't easy. This isn't hard mode. This is just balanced. But all of these concepts will apply to the like any of whichever category you're on, because no matter what, you're going to need these, right? Let's get into skills as a topic, because skills is the next category that we got to talk about. So, I mentioned about grass type AoE skill. You're probably wondering, is there a grass type AoE skill, and how do I get that, right? So, I have completed the decks here, which once you do that too, it makes it a little easier. And you will need to at least have a majority of the Digimon in order to get all the skills, because it's pretty important in order to do that, just because this will kind of guide you on which Digimon to work on, and you need those Digimon in order to get these skills. But I will cheat sheet you guys and give you the most important ones that you need to know about. So the most important skills for the part of the game we're in is going to be grass, fire, null, which null is an interesting one. For instance, for the fire skill, which the fire one we need that's AoE, is going to be from Dracomon that you farm on the first map. So we're looking for Dracomon right now. Here he is. So here you can see at level 2, he learns Ignition Flare. So at level 2, Ignition Flare. Ignition Flare is an AoE fire skill. It does, we'll actually look at it right now. And I have a bunch of them because I had to farm a bunch of those Dracomon for evolutions. So you'll see here what Ignition Flare does. It's fire physical attack at power 6 times 4 hits, 90% accurate. The fire physical attack is another thing we have to talk about, because not on top of every skill having a type, every skill also has a physical or magical typing. So that adds to the confusion, because you might have a skill that's a fire physical attack and you're using an intellect type, and you're wondering, why does this skill not do the damage I'm seeing in videos? This is going to be one of those, for those of you that didn't know this, moments, right? Yeah, I felt that too. Because trust me, I've been grinding for a long time on this demo just to figure out all the things we can about Digimon. Why? To help us when the game comes out, because this information is going to be super vital to clearing stuff quickly. And I'm one to save time, especially, you know, nowadays. But anyways, so fire physical attack or fire magical attack brings me to my next topic. There's two ways you could go with this. There's a intellect type Digimon that you can use to kill enemies, which there are skills that are magic type. I know you're wondering, how do I get those? They're available, but they're a lot harder to get. So there's a double-edged sword to everything you do. A physical attack seems to be easier in the beginning, like they're giving us all physical type attacks. So going with the physical type Digimon is not a bad idea. Now, the physical type Digimon I recommend is Falcomon. I've tested a ton of other Digimon, including Monodramon. And the reason why I tested Monodramon is because we need Monodramon to defeat Chaosdramon. So I was hoping that Monodramon would work for this, because it's a good Digimon. Now, it is good, but here's the problem when you get to these further maps. The problem is that he has a null type skill in his main slot. That is the problem with him. This makes him unusable. It will work to one-shot the Kurisarimon, but it will not work to AoE clear the Karamon. So that means when you're on the final map, which is the most important one because that's the fastest EXP farm, since the staircase is right next to all the Digimon, he will not one-shot everything. He will one-shot most things except for the Karamon. Same thing with Imon. Imon is the other one that has been giving me a lot of problems because, yes, he helps you to one-shot the Kurisarimon because just like Monodramon, he has the null magic attack power at 60. It is the highest rookie level damage that you can get for a null type skill. So he does it with magic damage though, which is the key factor here. And I will say Imon's intellect scales a lot higher than Monodramon's attack does. So what that means is that Imon will deal more damage overall in general. However, they cannot one-shot the Karamon. The only way they would be able to one-shot the Karamon is if you over-leveled them to a point where it hits a certain threshold and it automatically admits defeat for the Digimon, the enemy Digimon, because of your level difference or your stat difference. But that does not work for AoE, so it's not saving you time because that means you have to grind out a Digimon all the way up to like level 40 or higher just to be able to one-shot a Karamon. Like, come on, who wants to have to sit there and grind that much? So I tried to keep it realistic here and think about the level 24, 25, even 26. I was like, okay, that's fine. 29, anything with the 430, I figure is a fair number. So now we're going to talk about which Digimon I recommend. So the Digimon I recommend is Imon. You could use Monodramon, but it's going to be annoying because of the Knuckle Beater as well. It's basically the physical type of Imon. And I don't recommend Zubamon. Even though he's good, don't recommend him. But the best Digimon to use for farming is Falcomon. And Falcomon is the best because, first off, his basic skill is an AoE steel type skill. It's a steel physical attack skill. His attack is extremely high, so he's going to scale the hardest when it comes to attack power. He will be able to one-shot stuff, including possibly the Kurisarimon, but again, he'd have to be like level 40 plus to be able to one-shot the Kurisarimon, which is unrealistic, right? It's just going to take forever to grind. That's the reason why I'm not like fully invested in it, but if you guys want to do it, go ahead, Falcomon's your bet. You could use Zubamon, but Zubamon's going to take a lot longer because his attack is a lot lower. So if you farm Falcomon and level him up, he'll be the best. Now, the reason why I'm recommending Falcomon 2 is because of that level idea, right? So at level 24, he was able to one-shot the Digimon. So all you'll need to put on him is Ignition Flare and Lunatic Gate. Lunatic Gate you can get from 2 for sure, which is Ryudamon and Dorumon. Yes, okay. So you would have to get Wanyamon, a de-evolutionized Wanyamon, which requires the Reckless typing, which is why I recommend farming in the first area until you get a Reckless Wanyamon, so you can make Dorumon, but then you would de-evolutionize him to, he goes into this guy, Dodomon, and then evolutionize Dodomon into Dorimon, and then Dorimon will evolve into Dorumon at 260 attack. So whenever he hits 260 attack, he'll evolve into Dorumon. Now, since you de-evolutionized him first, to then re-evolutionize him, he'll have a higher level cap, so you'll be for sure able to hit the 260. You could also feed a lot of Digimon to him, which will up his stats as well and speed up the process. That's how you get Dorumon. Then just level Dorumon up to level 10. You'll get the Lunatic Gate, which is good, again, for the AoE null type, which we're going to need. Main thing we're going to need. Oh, you know what we talked about in this video too, just for the sake of the video, we talked about the grass one, the grass skill. So that comes from Renamon, Rune Forest at level 2. So just get a Renamon, it's the quickest one. Rune Forest is an AoE grass skill. That's the best Digimon for that one. you're wondering how to get Renamon, Renamon also comes from Wanyamon, so it's a super easy evolution. Just make sure to get a Wanyamon, level it up, evolve it to Renamon. That's pretty much it for that one. Super easy. And then we already showed Ignition. Flare, which comes from Dracomon at level 2, which you get from scanning and then just leveling them up. You'll wind up with a ton of them. I have like 40 or 50 of them. And when we get to shops, we'll be able to sell those for money too. So it's a good money farm, technically, if you think about it, for the skills. Aside from that, I think that's the main abilities. There are other ones you can get to prepare yourself if you're going to go down the Impmon route. Impmon's just very versatile, so I think for the later part of the game, he's going to be really good. So ones that are easy to get is Tentomon for Thunderfall, which gives you Electric. Where is he? Tentomon. At level 10, he gets Thunderfall, which is an AoE electric skill, and it is magic-based. For the Fire one, ironically, it's for the Intellect type, it's called Magma Fall, which you get from Coronamon, which this one's a little harder to get because this comes from your starter. So if you chose Patamon or Gomamon, you can get Coronamon by de-evolutionizing Patamon and then evolutionizing it into Coronamon. Once you evolve it into Coronamon, you get it to level 10, and boom, you have Magma Fall. Magma Fall is the only magic-type fire move we have currently in the game. Currently. Again, we're going to get more skills as we get champions and ultimates, and going to be a bunch of other options, but just for now, that's like the best option you can have, right? Obviously, once we get stronger skills too, one-shotting a Kurisarimon is going to be a lot easier. One-shotting pretty much anything in the game is going to be a lot easier. We already have the stats. Like, some of these Digimon that I have are crazy in stats already. But yeah. So there are some options. I don't remember what Burst Flame does. I think it was a single target, though. Just to confirm. We can check him if he still has it. He does. It is a single target, but it attacks 5 times with the power of 8. So it's just a strong single target skill. But yeah, Magma Fall is AoE. I already put it on my Impmon. So you can actually see here, Magma Fall, fire magic attack at power 25. You have Hell Crusher, which is a dark magic attack at power 25. Shine Burst is a light magic attack at power 25. Thunderfall. I have other ones too. So here's Rune Forest, like I was talking about. There's also Diamond Dust, which is an AoE. Ice physical attack at power 6 times 4. So it's the same as the fire one, which is physical. This is basically its opposite, since it's ice. There's Thunderfall, like I told you guys about. We already have it equipped. That's why it's not showing here. For Wind, I haven't found one. Light, we have Angel Ladder, which is the physical version, and Shine Burst, which is the magic version. There's 2 types. I also found a AoE Dark skill, which is a physical attack. This one's from Dracomon. It's called Soul Fear. It's the only dark physical attack type AoE skill that we have currently. Lunatic Gate, again, that's for null typing. It's AoE, but it's physical only. We don't have a magic type Lunatic Gate. Basically, no null typing AoE magic skill yet. It's not in the game. If it was, Impmon would probably one-shot. However, also, the AI is not very smart. So I think it would still use Summon instead of using the Lunatic Gate, just because it does a higher damage threshold, which is what ruins it for Caramon. That's why I say you have to make sure that they don't have a null typing in order to really one-shot the Digimon. So let's go ahead and show you what it looks like now when I farm here, and how I'm one-shotting them. Also for Impmon, when I got him to one-shot Kurisarimon, he was only level 29. He's level 34 here. He might not have even been level 29. I think it was like level 27, 26, 27. But he can one-shot it. You can't have him in the party if you want to, like, if you want to see what I'm going to showcase here. So we're going to start with Falcomon, just to show why he's so broken right now. So boom, he one-shots at 2 times. Boom, he one-shots. And then Caramon, he one-shots. Now the problem comes to Kurisarimon. We can't one-shot him. So in this case, I would probably recommend, for time's sake, to just skip killing Kurisarimon and just kill these rookies and run it back. because the time that it's going to take to kill Kurisarimon in a battle is going to ruin any speed you gained from being able to one-shot these guys. But just like this, you can see I'm getting a bunch of scans. And again, I'm on balance mode. This is not easy. I know some people probably thought I was on easy mode last video, but no, I am not. I'm on balanced. So that's why it's so much harder to get the stats right. AoE skills are super important, like I said, and depending on what your typing is, you want to make sure that you're using either a physical attacker with really high damage or a magical attacker with really high intellect. That's pretty much the main things to it, and I explained how to get everything. Hell Crusher actually comes from Intmon, in case you're wondering for that one. That's how we got Hell Crusher, which is the magic type AoE dark skill. And I think that's pretty much all the stuff we have to talk about. Don't recommend null types for skills for this last map especially. We went over kind of like how to gauge which one's which, how to go through the stats. I even showed you guys how to get... I didn't show you guys how to get Falcomon. Oh, we forgot about that. So you need to get a Yokomon. So Yokomon comes from Pabumon, which Pabumon you get by de-evolutionizing Motimon. So that's why you have to farm a bunch of Motimon. Now, for the Motimon, you need to have a specific personality. Base personality does not match. So it needs to be tolerant. So a tolerant Motimon is what you would need to be able to de-evolutionize. So for instance, this one's not tolerant either. But I could de-evolutionize now because I already got him. But you'll need a tolerant personality in order to de-evolutionize to Motimon. So you have to keep farming Motimon until you get a tolerant type, de-evolutionize him again to get to Pabumon, and then from Pabumon, you'll be able to get Falcomon. So Pabumon, you'll go into Yokomon, which then goes into Falcomon. That is the line. And then you'll have him. Falcomon's the most important just because he's really strong as a Digimon, especially since he gives like the best attack stat out of all. He's very weak in defense though, so he'll get one shot if you're not careful. But with what we're doing, you're not even going to get into a battle, so it doesn't really matter. Also, just to briefly show you guys, Intmon's clear because I'm sure you're probably curious. Switch these two. So this is how Intmon's looks like.
Well done. Great.
And as I said, Karamon we can't one-shot. So again, I'll show you one more run just to kind of give you guys an idea of why Intmon's also a good option. It's just you're not going to be able to one-shot the Karamon. And then we could one-shot Kurisarimon. But yeah, for Kurisarimon, we're able to one-shot him just because of the null typing. He's 200 times weak against null type. You can see for even Karamon as well, and Kuramon, they're all weak against null type, which is why you can AoE one-shot them as well with having a null type as an AoE skill. But for Kurisarimon in particular, you have to have a lot of damage to kill him. That's why Intmon's summon skill works so well, because it's 60 power, while this one's only going to be 25 for the Lunatic Gate. But it does have a chance, 10% chance to crit, so that part is good. But yeah, anyways guys, I hope this video helped. I hope I was able to explain everything in a way that kind of made it easier to understand. If it did help, make sure to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next tutorial for Digimon Story Time Stranger. I'm super excited for when the game fully launches, because then we'll have full access to everything. And I'm definitely ready already. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks out.